Hello everyone, my name is Liz. I'm the knitwear designer behind Elizabeth Street Studio, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My podcast is called Studio Notes, and I believe this is episode 6. I think this is episode 6, where I share behind the scenes of projects I'm working on, things that I have going on, all sorts of fun stuff. And we're in a new spot today. So usually for these podcast episodes, I am over on the other side of the house, kind of in my desk studio area. However, the house that I rent is being painted and it's a very dark, rainy Saturday today, and there's no light over there. I have all the windows are kind of blocked off while they're being painted. So I've had to move things around a bit. So we're in a different spot today. So hopefully we can get some of a little bit of natural light from the living room windows while we chat about some projects. It's been a while since I recorded an episode. Just because I haven't been recording doesn't mean I haven't been working on things. I feel like I always need to have finished or at least some progress to share with you, especially in this format. So I just haven't had a lot to record, but there's been a lot going on behind the scenes, which is always fun. But I have one kind of like bummer project and 2 exciting things, and then some like another kind of like hobby project thing I've picked up this year. It is fibery, so it's related, fiber knitting, yarn related. That I thought you all might enjoy seeing and hearing about. So I'm going to share about that as well. So we've got a bunch of different things to chat about today. So let's jump in. I think I'm going to start with the like not so fun. I mean, it is fun. However, I've ran into an issue and I have set it aside for a while, but the beginning, I think maybe even in the last episode, I talked about a sleeveless summer top, and I shared this swatch. The swatch was the inspiration. This, it's a fingering weight with some stockinette and this lace. And this lace is from actually another shawl pattern that I've already published called Fiore. So it has these diamonds and the chevrons, and I really liked that, and so I wanted to use that in a top. So I wrote up a pattern that's a v-neck sleeveless top with that lace as the hemband. Wrote it up, got it tech edited, and then started knitting it and got this far. Here it is. And I blocked what I had. It's so soft. I don't know if I've ever knit a fingering weight top. So this might be the first time I've done that in fingering weight. It's beautiful and soft. However, it's a little too oversized, and I measured the gauge and it is way off. It's like, oh no, crap. Gauge is way off. Yeah, it's too small. And I have a few, I don't know if you guys run into this as well, but I find with knitting on like lower than like size 4 needles, I tend to get some like wonky stitches going on. I don't know if you can see like a little wonky up there, even after blocking. And you know, this is usually what my stitches look like nice and even. So I find that happens to me quite a bit on like using 0 to 3 needles, smaller needles, certain yarns. Apparently this is one of them. I run into that issue. So I already like wasn't in love with how those stitches turned out. This is kind of like all crunchy too because it's been in a bag. I already wasn't in love with some of those wonky stitches. I mean, I don't think you'd really notice it, but I think that was definitely part of throwing my gauge off. So I need to go maybe try some different yarn sizes. and maybe do like a larger swatch before like doing the whole upper part of the body. So I'm gonna keep working on this. This was originally, I was originally going to try and release this this year, but there's no way I'm gonna have time to release it this summer with do it with the changes, with the problems that I've had. I want to make sure that they are resolved before test knitting. And I also might find a different color. I'm a very pale Midwesterner, and this was a bad color choice. My skin is literally still the same color as this yarn. It's been a long winter, and we are just kind of finally getting into summer now. We just had the first official day of summer and our first kind of heat wave. So I feel like my body hasn't caught up to summer yet. So I might need a different color, and I'm not sure how this might be hard to photograph too. I don't know. It looked beautiful. It looks beautiful in the skein, and it looks beautiful just knit up, but I don't love the color on me as a garment, which is important when you're knitting garments. You should use colors that, really accentuate your natural beauty and make you feel confident and lovely. And I don't know if this color does that for me in clothing. Like, I love this color in other things, but maybe not for clothing. And the yarn is, this is totally like a treat yourself yarn too. So maybe I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but this was La Bien-Aimée. I do not speak French, so I'm sure that's probably not pronounced right. It was Merino Singles in Sansa is the color. So it's a really beautiful kind of monotone, like a light pink color. So it's beautiful, but just don't know if it's not quite right for this particular project. So that was my kind of project, which isn't it's not a total loss at all. I need to go back and look at it, go back and try some different needles and see what kind of fabric I get from that. So I'm going to be setting that aside, even though all the tech editing is done. And hopefully next summer I will have something actually to release, rather than trying to push through it and not be happy with the end product. So that was the kind of not as fun one, but I do have a couple of actual fun projects that are actually looking really good and that I'm really excited about. One of them is my feather and fern sweater. Oopsies, got caught. I got caught on the other yarn here. And this one, I think I showed you guys in the last one of the episodes, at least we've seen this, but this is my feather and fern sweater. Right, feather and fern, fern and feather. It's a feather and a fern in some order. But I finished the body on this finally. I've been working on this on and off for like probably at least 6 to 8 months. And I have finally finished the body and started a sleeve. So it's starting to look like something real, and I blocked the body. This is actually my first colorwork yoke sweater that I've knit. And so I had a few there were some puckers in between the like sections of knitting here, but they all blocked out beautifully, and like you would never know it. This was folded up on my desk. That's why it has a few like kinks in it, but those will steam out really well. It'll be totally fine. And the only modifications that I made for this were, I just took out all the body shaping. I didn't do any body shaping. I just finished, I think you work some short rows below the underarm joint. And I just worked it straight after finishing all of those short rows, and it fits beautifully. I just wanted a like comfy, almost cropped, but not quite cropped, not super cropped length. So I'm really excited with how this is looking. And I'm actually, this is Cascade 220. Like this is really nice. I'm kind of impressed. I hadn't used that yarn for any color work, or I had some from like way back, some old Cascade yarn, but I hadn't bought any in a number of years. And I was really impressed with, I love this color. And I just think it knits up really, really well. And it's a really budget-friendly yarn, and I feel like it's going to wear well. Sometimes you can tell, even just carrying a project around, like it already kind of starts to pill a little bit and show some wear. But I mean, this looks like I literally just knit it up yesterday, and it's kind of been in and out of bags, and you know, it traveled around to a few places, you know, in the last maybe like 6-8 months. So I'm really excited about that, and this is gonna be finished for the fall, so I'm gonna be able to wear it this fall, which will be really exciting. I think my favorite thing about the colorwork yoke, knitting it from the top down, is that you start with the neckband. I went with the rolled neckband. Whenever I do a sweater, I like scour Ravelry and Instagram to see what versions other people have made, to see if there's any mods that I want to make. And I decided to leave the neckline as a rolled neckline. I wasn't sure. Sometimes those like don't work out so well, but I feel like when you start with the rolled neckline, it just like was so easy to flow into the rest of the sweater. I was like, wait, what? That was it? That's it? It was like just so seamless and wonderful. And I'm used to having to pick up and knit ribbing and everything, and your neckline is done already. Like, that's so exciting. So I really love that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. One of my design goals is to design a round yoke colorwork sweater, or a top-down colorwork sweater. You work that around, of course, but yeah, so this was a total win. I finished the body while I was on vacation, and so it was really exciting, and then it feels like something real now that you can actually put it on, you can fold it, and it's real and it's beautiful. Love it. That's the first win. And the next one is, I think I've shared this one on here as well, but it's like we're making some real progress here. It is a shawl design, and for whatever reason, I just decided to leave off in the middle of a row to show you guys, which makes it real nice and easy to show you. Like, no, not. Oh well, that's okay. It's a, oh my gosh, this is so awkward. Maybe I should just finish this row and come back. There it is. Okay, this is really annoying. I'm gonna finish this row and come back and show you. Okay, I got to the middle of my row. It's a little bit easier to see what's going on here, but this is, I think I'm calling this the copper leaf shawl. It's a nice wide, like an elongated triangle, so it'll be wider than it is deeper, with all of these really yummy textured sections. So you start off with just some garter stitch to get the shape set up, and then you have this little tiny bobble stitch, the slip stitch section, and then a popcorn stitch, and then that whole section repeats. I have 3. I think I'm gonna do one more full section of all of those. And oh, look at that yummy texture. It's gonna look so good. Oh, it's just so good. Usually I am like, give me lacer cables. Like, I don't really want to bother with just texture, because I don't know, like, I don't know, I think it's boring or something. I don't know, but this is like, this is so good. I love this. I love it so much. This is knit up in DK. It is Autumn and Indigo Classic DK, and I think the colorway is Umber. So that kind of gave me the idea for copper leaf. and there's a like cute little like boutique hotel downtown in the city where I live in called the Copperleaf. I was like, oh, that'd make a great name. So that kind of that umber colorway, and I liked the Copperleaf name. So this is the Copperleaf shawl. And my goal is to release this in September. I'm almost done writing the pattern. I'm writing up as I'm knitting. So I'm hoping to have it off to a tech editor by the end of the month. So if you want to test knit this lovely guy, I think it'd be a really fun test knit, and I think it's going to be a quick knit. It goes a lot quicker when you're not trying to write the pattern as you're going along. But that's just how I go. I have to see things, and I can't always write it up before I knit it. Like, it doesn't visualize the same way in my brain. So it may be a little bit slower at the beginning, but when you're actually knitting this, like from the pattern, I think it's going to go actually pretty quickly. And like I said, it's an elongated triangle shape. So you're doing increases along the top, this top line, and then the center spine. You're doing 4 increases each right side row, and then 2 increases each wrong side row. So that gives you the shape where it's wider than it is deeper. So I want it to be super duper wearable. And sometimes the like straight equal side triangle can be a little bulky. And so I wanted to try this shape where it's longer, so it'd be easier to wrap around your neck, and it wouldn't be quite so deep and quite so bulky. So we'll see. I literally cannot wait to block this. Oh, blocking is my favorite thing ever. I love blocking knit so much. It's magical. It's just magical. So I love how this is going. This is turning out just like I want it to. And I think I might add either some tassels, or I feel like it might need a little something on the edges to finish it. So I think I'm just gonna do some more garter stitch at the bottom to finish it off, just maybe a few rows. And like that's it, like keep it really simple. And then, cause you've got all this interesting stuff going on here, and then maybe some tassels. We'll see. I have to see it blocked and finished, but that is coming, and I'm really excited about that. So if you wanna know when this is ready for testing, sign up for my test knitter email list. I have a specific email list that I shoot test knits out to first before like sharing it on Ravelry or on social media. So you can pop your email if you'd like to get a heads up about that. I will link that in the description below. So that's my second knitting project. And oh, the other thing that I really liked about this project was that this yarn, I had, I think, an extra like maybe skein or skein and a half from another project that I could use for this, but I ended up unraveling another sweater. It was actually one of my first sweater designs, and it was like a prototype that didn't quite work out. And it had been hanging in my like studio area for like a month. No, for like months and months, like a long time. And I've been staring at it for like a while, being like, what am I gonna do with that? It's like, I'm not something I wanna wear. And so I decided to unravel the yarn and use it to finish off this guy. And I tried soaking yarn before you re-knit it. I had never tried that. So, I mean, lots of you probably already know about this, but if you unravel yarn, I mean, it looks like, literally looks just like ramen noodles. They're so weird. It literally looks exactly like ramen, especially in like the blocking soaking bowl. So it looks like this is all, you know, kinky from being knit and sitting in like a knitted garment, especially if you blocked it. So I unwound the whole sweater, what I had done of the sweater, and had a whole bunch of like pieces of skeins. And I actually unwound it, soaked it, and this is how it came out after being re-soaked. And then I just let it dry, hung it on a hanger, let it dry. and it worked like a charm. This is all like you would never know. I just started using, this has been re-soaked. This is the second time this yarn has been knit up, and it worked like a charm. That was really exciting. I'd never done that before. So if you have something you don't wear, like a garment or something, you can undo it, take it apart, re-soak the yarn, and you can re-knit it. Like, wool is so hardy. I kind of forget that. Wool is really hard wearing, and so that was really exciting that I could still use this yarn for something that felt really good. So that was the other fun thing about this. Okay, the other thing I wanted to share was sort of a new fibery hobby thing I picked up this year. It's called the punch needle. I don't know if you've probably maybe seen some kits around at like craft stores, things like that. I know I had seen some things around, and I had followed a few people. The person that I followed on Instagram, I don't know how to pronounce her first name, but her handle is Boku. It's Bookhou. I think that's how you spell it. I'm gonna link her down below. She does like all sorts of textile stuff. I absolutely love her account. And one of the things that she does is punch needle. And so for Christmas, I got the actual punch needle tool. And you create these like pieces using yarn. And your punch needle has a pointed end, and you punch it through the fabric, and the weave is tight enough, the weave of the fabric is tight enough that it holds the loops in place as you create them with this tool. It's way simpler than it sounds, but you end up having like a straight side with your stitch, and then it creates these loops on the opposite side. So you see, here's the back, here's like the straight side, here's the loopy side, the straight side on the front, and it makes the loops on the opposite side. So you can kind of create this like textured piece based on what you use as the front side and the back side, if that makes sense. But this is a piece that I finished, a little spring beetle. Super cute. And I just stretched it around like a canvas frame. I think I just got this from like literally Hobby Lobby or something. I had started stapling it, but the staple gun jammed, so I hot glued it. I was like, I'm going to finish this. And then you have like this cute little piece. So I really like I like the colors of this beetle. With the dark green and the pink. I think that's really fun. But so I did this piece. Oh, and I also did, hang on just a second. So you can make these kind of wall hanging type pieces. You can finish your piece as a zipper pouch. This was a tutorial from that Instagram page that I told you about, and made it into a little zipper pouch, put some backing fabric, used some just regular cotton like muslin for lining, and turned it into a zipper pouch. And I'm also working on a large piece that's going to be like a throw pillow cover. But that's a really, really fun way to use up your little bits and pieces of yarn, especially if you do something like this. I mean, you could make each of those little flowers in a different color, use up your yarn scraps, and show off that yarn texture. If it's too small to knit into something, I've really enjoyed figuring out punch needle. It's super easy to pick up, especially if you're a knitter. And it's a great kind of meditative way when your brain just wants to check out. like the pieces that I'm working on aren't totally mindless, like the sleeves will be now. But if your knitting isn't completely mindless and your brain just wants to check out, but you still want to do something with your hands, like this has been a great way to do that, especially for me in the evenings after work. So punch needle's been really fun. I highly recommend checking that out if you are interested. The punch needle and the frame are all from the Oxford company. I think her name is Amy Oxford on Instagram, and I'll link that as well. But her like company They make the punch needles and they make the punch needle frames that make it really easy to work with. And in this case, I think your tools really do make a difference. I actually did a couple of punch needle workshops at the library where I work. If you didn't know, I work full-time as a librarian at a local public library, and one of the things that I was able to do this year was to run a couple of punch needle workshops at the library where I work, which were very successful. There was a ton of interest, which was really, really fun. But we used some more budget-friendly needles, and I will say the Oxford needles were much easier to use. So if that's something you're looking into, maybe like borrow one from somebody, or you know, just to try it out. But I definitely recommend investing in the Oxford punch needles. They work really, really well, and they make it fun to learn, so you're not frustrated with your tools. Those are all the projects that I have going on that I wanted to share today. If you want to stay in touch, make sure you sign up, like I said, for the Test Knitter newsletter and just my regular newsletter. I'll send out periodical updates through that, and you can follow me on Instagram and on Ravelry for lots of fun knitting stuff. So thanks for hanging out today, and we'll talk again soon. Bye guys.